This bull run has been very weird.
It was pretty obvious that we were seeing a euphoric moment. I see a lot of people around me who own a bunch of ETH. They're sad. It's depressing.
There was this video on Twitter about Swasticoin. I mean, that's the only thing that's like keeping me entertained.
This material is for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide accounting, legal, or tax advice, or investment recommendations, or an official statement of Presto or its affiliates.
This is the Presto Research Podcast. Today, I have Rick, the intern of Presto Research. What's up, Rick?
Hello, honored to be here.
Rick, as the viewers can see, Rick, he's a very private guy. He doesn't want to be doxxed, so we had to blur him out. And if you cannot see his expressions, he's smiling. He's happy. He's having a little hay fever, so we might have a little problems here in communication. But I guess he had some pills, so he's juiced up. And we're ready to talk about price action on Bitcoin. Right now, the charts are saying it's 87.3K. Personally, as I have been saying for the last few weeks in Korean and English on this podcast, I think the chop will, it's going to be a very continuous, very long chop in my opinion, because macro, Trump, he's a madman. We don't know what he's going to do. But Rick here, I have no clue what he's thinking about, what he's doing with his money, and what he's telling other people around, or maybe his family. What do you think about Korean market conditions, Rick?
Well, I tell my family everything's okay, but I'm perpetually long, so everything is not okay. Struggling. The lower highs, every little pop can really get to a man. So it feels like death by 1,000 cuts. I think no one is making money if they're active. So yeah, I mean, I'm just holding this to zero. I think it's going to zero. Ethereum is going to zero already. So I'm not really the best person to ask, but I agree with you. I think we've gone past that kind of hype situation in the post-election period, and then we're in for a pretty long chop. People are like celebrating this like little pop from below 80 to like now. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not really significant. So, I mean, yeah, you just want to survive, hey?
Yeah, I also have most of my money in stables right now. And last night I actually, minted two Taproot Wizards. If you don't know, these are NFTs that are worth 0.2 BTC each. So I basically blew a bunch of money on jpegs on Bitcoin, which I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I think this is like my own thesis, because I've been long on the Bitcoin ecosystem for a long time. Like, since when ordinals first came out, I was a big fan of ordinals and BRC20s. And now that I see the guys, I think they might be ready to reactivate OpCat on Bitcoin finally. So I think this is it might be a good chance for me to deploy a little capital to prepare for the next pump. I think this is my way of DCAing in the things that I have conviction in. So is there anything that you are DCAing, or you're trying to make a move on, Rick?
Well, I'm not as brave as you, so my family and I will pray for you. And may God be with you and your JPEGs. But I think right now I'm just in that consensus kind of trade. Like, everyone's either stables or they're in that like Bitcoin hype, very cringe but barbell, strategy thing.
What about Fartcoin?
Again, you're venturing into areas of the industry I don't want to get into. I've lost enough on kind of meme coins, as my colleague Biden will tell you, and I think he'll put his hand up for the responsibility. But I think, well, when hype is kind of dropping, I just kept bidding. So I bought a bunch below like 14 and 13, but Now, I'm not that I'm more sensible. I'm just running out of cash, so I'm just gonna see where this goes, and move back home if I need to. But yeah, we'll see.
So it's not you, it's not you being smart, but it's just you running out of money, so you cannot buy much more hype anymore.
And Bitcoin. But yeah, I think this is one of the crypto gods telling me I need to settle down and think about my future. Because yeah, this year has not been great for everyone.
Oh man, I think it has been great for a lot of people though. For example, I mean Biden, this man, he by the way, for the viewers, Biden is the guy who got me into this podcast. So he works at Presto too. He is one of my friends, and he was really big on Hyperliquid ever since it came out, and he did well. He did well. So I think he's contaminating his whole pool of people around him with the hype train, right? Hype and even Farcoin. The man was big on AI meme coins back in the day, and I think he bought Farcoin when it was like only 3 mil, but I think he sold when it dipped really bad, and then it ran up to 1.4 bill. So I think he might feel a bit suicidal on that. I think a lot of people might have missed that one, including myself. I was like, Farcoin, it's funny, but it's going down, so I'm not touching that shit. Then the other day, like, I wake up and it's like 100 mil, and I'm like, whoa, I'm not touching that. And it's like 200 mil, 300 mil, and it's like 1.4 mil. I'm like, whoa. Is it the time to buy, though?
Hot air rises. It's the time to buy when Biden is buying. It's time to sell when Biden says it's time to buy. There's a bit of a lag there, I think. So you got to be smart with your timing. I'm definitely not long. I've like bought and sold fart, so I've done okay on it, but I'm not holding it for like.
It's funny how you say. It's funny how you say you bought and sold fart. It just sounds like you literally.
My family will never listen to me say that because they will never take me seriously again. I think my credibility is already running very thin after I said just buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, particularly on that latter shitcoin. So I've got to be very careful about what I say.
That happens to me a lot of times too. Like, you know, when you make these life-changing generational trades once in a while, and you shill the ticker during its like literal top, blow off top, and then people see me like, you know, just being outrageous and being crazy, and then they eventually buy into my insanity, and then they get wrecked. They go down like minus 99%, and they say I'm a counter signal, but
yeah,
I still haven't lost any money though. That's the funny thing. That happens to me, probably you and Biden too.
Well, I have the same, minus the very first part about making the life-changing money. So I probably buy at the Pico top as well. So I might start just a trade journal that people can subscribe to, like Capo, and then they can just inverse trade me. And that might be the way out of poverty. Because my timing this past like few months, or past the AI top, I think maybe the past year, like I've held everything to zero. I'm in shambles.
So you're telling me that you're holding stables, or what's your like portfolio like pie chart? How does it look like?
I would say it's like a third each in Bitcoin, Hype, Solana. And I was very disappointed to find like 2 ETH in on my ledger a few weeks ago, because that's just like, I don't know, it's like you just found out you forgot your PIN or something, you know, like money that's not money anymore. But yeah, it's like a very balanced ratio of Bitcoin, Sol, ETH. I will forever be a Bitcoin and Solana maxi hype is more out of respect to my colleague Biden, who keeps finding ways to make life-changing money.
The way you also said that, how it's not money anymore, how ETH is not money anymore. it's that
very
like
true.
how ETH has underperformed is quite a story. I see a lot of people around me who own a bunch of ETH, and they're sad. It's depressing. I think a lot of people are saying that we might be seeing the moment of the BlackBerry moment in crypto, where ETH will become totally obsolete. But I think there is some hope because we got some L2s like Mega ETH coming out. I'm not sure how the value will accrue to Ethereum if it's really fast and cheap. But the EVM ecosystem and its network effects are pretty strong. So it's hard to say that Ethereum is totally dead. I still have my hopes.
Yep.
But the SVM ecosystem, including Eclipse and Solare, they're coming out hot. And if these ecosystems continuously develop and attract more developers, then I think Ethereum might be totally wrecked in the long term. And in Korea, we're having a Solana hackathon next week. Actually, Presto is sponsoring it. And I think the turnout for developers is pretty high. Like the super team is working really hard. And when I see their photos of events, I see a bunch of people, like a lot of, I didn't even know there are many of these devs in Korea and they're interested in Solana. Maybe because, all the money and people and the meme coin trading is attracting a lot of people. And actually we're seeing these retail apps like Tensor. What was that Vector created by Tensor, and these like really nice apps being built. So I'm sad to hear that you found 2 ETH like a few days ago on your ledger.
Thanks. Thank
But
you.
yeah, let's talk more about the markets though.
Yep.
Like macro, I think we're seeing a lot of mixed signals. Trump's still talking about tariffs. Somehow people are saying it's bullish. Somehow people are saying like, oh, it's only a dip, like Bitcoin do like minus 30% corrections every time. And, the inflation is not bad and all that. But we're seeing some people also talking about stagflation. So what do you like? You're really into macro and stuff, as long as I know. So what's your opinion on all this stuff?
To be very honest, I have not been following the macro well, although it's meant to be part of my job. But I would say that right now it's like in that uncertainty period. So you can kind of just tell, even if you're not in the weeds, the more people argue, the more there are different opinions and the more there are factors to be argued about. And I think those are the toughest periods, especially for crypto, when crypto doesn't have a very innate, like inherent narrative itself. And we end up following the big kind of liquidity waves, kind of what you guys talked about on the previous podcast with Peter. In those moments when that coupled with crypto lacks its own narrative and there's a lot of uncertainty, whether it's from the monetary policy side, or right now it seems to be that plus general like foreign policy and what Trump is doing, that creates quite a tricky setup for risk assets, and crypto is no different. So I think a lot of smart accounts now, you can see like on CT, the consensus is it'll chop now and then we'll just follow macro. And I think this is why, which makes a lot of sense, because it does feel on CT there is no like strong positive narrative. Like there's a lot of like little shitting on this project or that project narrative that we see. But there doesn't seem to be like a consensus strong narrative that people are excited about the way people were excited when Hype launched.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the last period really where there was like just positive vibes on the timeline.
Yeah, it was total euphoria if you think about it. I mean, in hindsight, everything is... It was pretty obvious that we were seeing a euphoric moment, like Trump, especially the ticker Trump, man, and Melania, all that shit. I should have sold Solana when it was 280. I was foolish to think that it would even go up. I thought the bull would go forever. We never know that it was peaking when it actually peaks. And this never changes, I guess. Like I think, you know, I've experienced like an enough amount of euphoric moments in my life in trading, but I think it's not my thing to actually actively trade these like very volatile meme coins, because I just like, you know, I can't control myself. That's the thing. Like, it's really hard to like, you know, sell something when you think that let's say if you made like $1 million and then you think, oh, if it just goes like another 50% from here, I can buy another house. Like, that's the type of shit, like thinking you get to when you make this type of money. And actually that type of money, that type of thinking doesn't let you make that money actually, because eventually you don't sell. So these, I think when we get another big run, the best mindset to have is to always thinking about when to sell. I always tell myself that after I fumbled a lot of things, and eventually I was able to save some money this time. So now I quit my job like, you know, in December, and I'm doing this podcast with the Presto Research team. So I was fortunate enough to listen to myself, but this chop season also is testing me a lot, because I do want to buy. I want to buy, like I'm perpetually long too, but I don't know, like it's so uncertain. And sometimes like, what if China like invades Taiwan suddenly? You know, I'm seeing a lot of like, since crypto is so boring, I'm back to politics now. I'm listening to like these Chinese guys, like these professors, like these people in Silicon Valley talking about the future and robotics and all that shit. So I'm getting like these wild, you know, scenarios where, oh, what if the US is trying to team up with Russia and trying to, you know, check on China, and they're trying to bring back manufacturing, you know, these like weird scenarios. And I think that kind of, you know, makes me want to click things, you know, again. But yes,
I think you're doing it right. Like in these moments, you want to distract yourself, and conspiracy theories is one way. But you don't want to be, if you're spending like all your time on Twitter or something, I think that's much worse, because there's a lot of tickers that'll be thrown your way. Yeah, conspiracy
like
theories are somehow healthier than, and Farcoin, healthier than than crypto right now.
Yeah, the barbell strategy, the Hype Farcoin barbell strategy is actually pretty going strong. I've seen some tweets from McKenna, and he is a big believer in hype and fart. So I wanted to listen to his advice, but man, right now I'm not touching anything. So I think that includes like really big infrastructure projects, including Story and Berachain and like these new things. And especially we had Berachain outperforming the market. I mean, did it outperform the market? But it was still one of the big runners the last few weeks. Last time, Rick, it was not aired on the Presto Research Podcast, but when we had a little test pilot on this podcast, we talked about how Bera must go to zero, and Rick was pretty salty about it, but it's kind of running well. So, do you have any like thoughts behind like how Bera is running strong, and what are your general thoughts, opinions on Berachain right now?
Yeah. So yeah, my sentiment was driven largely by lack of airdrop allocations, which I will one day get over. But yeah, it does seem like Bera has been like solid, outperforming, and it's been focused on again. I think in a way, like it was one of those coins that saw that hype into launch, hype at launch, and then quickly faded. Maybe irrelevant is too harsh of a word, but it faded pretty quickly. So positioning was probably pretty light. There was that people playing that launch initially, and then I think it kind of disappeared from our timelines and mindshare as well. So I think it's under-owned, underwatched. But it's arguably still one of the most meaningful launches of recent, maybe alongside like IP and Kaito. But I think it received the least attention, or that attention faded the quickest.
Yeah.
And yeah, anecdotally, like most institutional players and stuff, they express no views on Bera, I think just because of what it represents, that meme side of it. And maybe some people just view it as like a farming venue, not really an investment thesis. So I think there was always kind of an opportunity to go either way because it was under-owned or underwatched. There's probably a good way to look at it is probably looking at like open interest versus like open interest of other similar coins, and then people saw it as like a defensive high yield. I actually don't know what the yields are, but a yield play, which is always kind of attractive in these market environments when people aren't that keen on going very directional. The word yield is always somewhat attractive. So that because you need Bera, right, to participate in that
Yield farming
thing. So that's always that. And the proof of liquidity was that launched 2 days ago, 24th.
Yeah, a few days ago. Yeah.
So there's a good narrative, reason to own Bera. I mean, the proof of liquidity thing, they've obviously done a good job designing like a way to align those incentives, right?
Yeah.
So that's been good. I haven't actually followed how that proof of liquidity has done since the launch. I just looked it up yesterday when it was. I don't know how it's been doing, but I think there were some vaults that were like triple digit percent. So that's a good, feedback loop. The demand for Bera rises as people chase yield. And I'm not really participating in like the ecosystem because I did, and I didn't get an airdrop. So I'm still salty, but they still have enough contributors, right? Like there's okay TVL and there's enough kind of protocols there for people to participate in, I think.
What are some like ecosystems you participate or maybe just have an interest in at the moment?
Outside Berachain?
Yeah, anything. What's your favorite?
just buy and hold. Bitcoin so hype. I'm not really doing anything with them. Like maybe getting yield on some of those tokens, but I'm definitely not. Like my lazy thinking always been if there's like 10-15% yield, like annualized yield, like I'm probably going to be my my goal is to do multiples of that, just holding a token like once I rotate into something, so I don't get too bothered by yield that much. So
Yeah.
I say as I'm like 50% down, but yeah, so not really that active.
Right now I'm not actively like studying or researching anything, but I'm eyeing on the Bitcoin ecosystem because, as I have mentioned earlier, I have been bullish on it for a long time, and it seems like this could be something hidden in plain sight that people are not paying attention to because of how a lot of people got wrecked with runes, BRC20s, and ordinals. But what I see right now is they got their own version of pump.fun on internet computer, like, ICP, that coin. So this guy built like a whole app chain with their technology, and it was a mega hit before everything got wrecked. And I'm seeing some more liveliness in the Bitcoin ecosystem since the Taproot Wizards minting was announced. And my guess is that this is just a wild guess. This is just pure speculation, but they just didn't announce this mint because they wanted money. Like they're funded, right? So the Taproot Wizards were funded for like $30 million. So they got money, and they don't need to do this mint at this time. So when I also see like these tweets from Udi, the co-founder of Taproot Wizards, kind of joking around that this NFT sale could be a token sale, actually, like how the Bong bearers and like the Bit bearers, I think they're teasing some sort of I don't know, infrastructure or app or some sort of development on their side so they can do a TG of some sort. And this could be like, buying a Pudgy at 0.3 ETH, something like that. And the Quantum Cats, which are like the first NFTs they created, might be the Lil Pudgies. So I have a total of 2 Taproot Wizards and 2 Quantum Cats, which is, if you think about it, it's to normal people, it's ludicrous to have like these amount of internet JPEGs, and they're worth like, couple digit $1,000. So maybe I'm just crazy, I'm biased, I'm just making up a bunch of stories just to feel better. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for. This might be the asymmetric bet right now.
Yeah, you can either go to therapy or you can buy more JPEGs, and I think in the long run the JPEGs might even be cheaper. So this is good investment advice from you.
Yeah, actually, this is my own way of trying to, be smart. So, is there anything that you think that is undervalued, even though you're not very interested? Like, we've been talking a lot about Fartcoin and all, but I'm seeing already people talking about robotics tokens, which I think is crazy. Like, why do we even have tokens? Like, but is there anything like crazy or something you think that is undervalued in the market right now?
Crazy is a very broad word. There is one, going back to what we were talking about earlier about conspiracy theories. There was this video on Twitter about Swasticoin. Did you see that video?
Oh, Kanye?
Yeah, a Kanye coin. But there was this guy did this huge deep dive into one of the Kanye coins about how it was launched. It was like no one claimed it, no one bought it, and then it was bought, and then the description on the pump.fun kept changing, front running Kanye's tweet. So it would change saying something, and then Kanye would say like pretty much the exact same thing a day later or something, or an hour later. And he kept front running what Kanye was doing on Twitter. That is my crazy watch that I'm watching now. Other than that, I mean, that's the only thing that's like keeping me entertained, and not quitting my job and going back to TradFi. Is like, this is just very entertaining to me. Not because I share the same political views as any celebrities that might be connected to this coin. It's just a very entertaining thing that's happening, although it's like drawn down like 90%, so maybe there's nothing there. Okay. So that might be, if it's real. I mean, what did like Iggy, what's her name's coin go up to, like 800 million market cap or something?
Yeah.
this is like at 3 or 4 million. So it could easily be, this could be the thing that gets all of us out of poverty. But this
Or put
is
you
like
into poverty again.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's probably like a 99% chance it goes to 0, 1% chance it goes to like 5 billion. So someone can do the expected value of that. Other than that, I think kind of like connected to that Bera thing, or as an extension of it, I think this bull run has been very weird. I think we can all agree it's been like a Michael Saylor driven bull run. I was looking at a chart recently that I posted. Total market cap minus Bitcoin market cap minus ETH market cap minus stablecoin market cap. So just like a altcoin market cap. It actually never got back to 2021 all-time highs, which is kind of crazy. Like, even though we all celebrated Bitcoin all-time highs on, was it 5th of December? And, 100K Bitcoin 5th of December, everything felt great. But actually, like, if you kind of looked outside of the majors and stables, we didn't get back to the 2021 highs, which is not great. And so I feel like if there is a bull run, so removing timing and how long it might take, how long this chart might take, that kind of conversation, just thinking about if there is a proper run, I think there still has to be like a L1, OL1 rally that comes before a lot of like the specific protocol rallies and more like niche narrative rallies. So that's something I'm somewhat watching, and I guess that's why I'm just allocated to like Bitcoin Hype Solana for now, because if you try to look into like, if you miss like AI narratives or specific narratives over the past year or 2 years, and you try to allocate your portfolio based on fundamentals or what actually looks good, or if even just thinking about things too much, you did pretty poorly. Fundamental coins have done very poorly. I have like an index that on my trading view, but it's constantly like underperforming like majors. Maybe not quite Ethereum, but at least Bitcoin, at least Solana. So I think in preparation for, or in the spirit of always being ready, I'm just kind of holding and watching like OL1s.
I'm not sure like if we're gonna get like a full-fledged market, like a alt season, that's what they say, like 2021 anymore, because seems like the speculative aspect has just moved to other things, right? For example, back in 2021 and 2017, when you wanted to basically gamble your money, you had to buy these big coins that are listed on exchanges. But now all the gamblers are going into Fartcoin, like these on-chain shitters, poolies, morning routine. The trenchers are actually reviving. Speaking of, anyways, we have these funny things now. We have these funny things that can make you actually turn your $100 to $1 million, basically. So the normies and the small guys, they don't have big incentives to go into these big market cap coins. And these big market cap coins, I think they, like institutions, for example, they'll buy it through ETFs or, whatever institutional ways they have. So I don't think we're going to get like a crazy run. I mean, we could, but I might miss out based on my thesis. But it's always good to think not in a binary way, right? It's you need to always allocate your assets on a spectrum. I think right now, for people like you and me and anyone listening, it's time to buy up quality assets and trying to eye on things that have that are on like way on the end of the risk spectrum that you want to allocate a little money so that when it pumps, you can buy a house, whatever. Anyways, I think we're out of time. But I think Rick wants to say something, and I think after that we can wrap this up.
No, nothing to say. You've wrapped it up beautifully. Just don't overtrade, buy quality stuff, which maybe we can expand, give investment advice here and say quality stuff doesn't have to mean a token. Maybe you're better off buying real stuff, spend time with your family, and go on a holiday, buy something that doesn't depreciate. Don't buy Ethereum. Yeah. Enjoy life. Be healthy.
Yeah.
Do your morning routine.
Rub a banana on your face.
Rub that banana on your face, yeah.
Anyways, thank you, Rick, for tuning in. I hope tomorrow you get some good Saratoga sparkling water splash on your face.
I've ordered on Amazon. It should arrive. It should clear up my hay fever. Hopefully.
Yeah. I hope that cures you. This was Joo Hyuk from Presto Research Podcast, and thank you. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.